Today I'd like to invite you to a Structure Deck showcase of Structure Deck PEGASUS. Structure Deck PEGASUS is an OCG exclusive structure deck released in Japan March 21st, 2002. It was the 4th deck to have ever been released in the OCG Structure Deck series. If you've been thinking about buying this deck, keep in mind, nowadays it sells for roughly like £190 on Amazon, so it's quite the investment to make. Today we are going to be pitting this 15-year-old deck against today's meta decks as well as the most recent starter deck, just to see how it stacks up. Before that though, let's see what we're working with. The deck features most of the cards used by the character Maximilian Pegasus during the Duelist Kingdom arc of the Yu-Gi-Oh series. The structure deck contains 6 brand new cards of the time, which were Toon Cannon Soldier, Toon Gemini Elf, Toon Goblin Attack Force, Toon Masked Sorcerer, Toon Table of Contents, Toon Defense, and an alternate artwork of Toon World. Uniquely as well, the deck came with 3 special cards included, which were the Duelist Kingdom card, the Set Sail for the Kingdom card, and Glory of the King's Hand card. These cards of course originate from the Duelist Kingdom series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Unlike the previous character decks so far, this deck actually has a strategy. It relies on the card Toon World being on the field, and with it you can summon your Toon monsters and attack your opponent directly, quickly diminishing their life points or just bypassing troublesome monsters. Structure Deck Pegasus contains 56 cards in total, with 2 ultra rares, which are Toon Cannon Soldier and Toon Gemini Elf, and 1 super rare, Toon Table of Contents. There are also 53 commons, which are Red Archery Girl, Thousand Eyes Idol, Illusionist Faceless Mage, Parrot Dragon, Dark Rabbit, Rogue Doll, Toon Alligator, Toon Goblin Attack Force, Toon Masked Sorcerer, Toon Summon Skull, Toon Mermaid, Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Sangan, Witch of the Black Forest, Magician of Faith, Senju of the Thousand Hands, Mystic Tomato, Jigen Bakudan, Sonic Bird, Relinquished, Snatch Steal, 2 copies of Toon World, Regeki, Heavy Storm, Soul Exchange, Change of Heart, Fissure, Monster Reborn, Polymerization, Fusion Gate, Giant Trunade, Nightmare Steel Cage, Black Illusion Ritual, Vengeful Bog Spirit, Toon Defense, Jar of Greed, Thousand Eyes Restrict, Ryuran, Manga Ryuran, Summoner of Illusions, Dark Eyes Illusionist, Dream Clown, Dragon Piper, Defusion, Dimension Hole, Shine Palace, The Eye of Truth, Dragon Capture Jar, Ominous Fortune Telling, Life Absorbing Machine, Ryoku Field, Respect Play. Now, to test this deck out in today's meta, we're going to have to take out the banned cards, which are Wish of the Black Forest, Snatch Steal, Heavy Storm, Change of Heart, Monster Reborn, and Giant Trunade. Next, let's side in and out what we want to use, and here we go. This is the deck we'll be using. Let's see how it does. Okay then, so something a little bit new that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try and do 3 matches against the most recent starter deck Link Strike, just to try and see how it does against another kind of starter structure deck kind of thing. So the first 3 matches you're going to see here are against the starter deck, and the rest will be against the meta. So the first bad thing I want to bring up is the fact that the banned cards that we lose and we try to play without. I mean, this is the least amount of banned cards we've had removed from the deck, but losing cards like Monster Reborn, Change of Heart, and Snatch Steal especially, you need those cards to take control of your opponent's monsters so you can tribute them in order to summon your bigger Toon monsters, and they really hinder the deck not having them in there. Giant Trunade, it's a shame not to have it, but we can live without it, and Heavy Storm as well, we can live without them, but Monster Reborn, Change of Heart, Snatch Steal, big losses to the deck. And Wish of the Black Forest, good card, but we can live without it. So some good points about the deck. The Toon World monsters can be really good because they can be special summoned to the field, certain ones. So you can special summon some to the field if you've got Toon World, and then you can tribute them to summon bigger monsters. So that's one way of getting, say, Summon Skull onto the field. But cards like Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, because you need 2 tributes, unless you've got Soul Exchange in your hand, then it's going to be very difficult to get out the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. I never actually managed to get it out every single time that I played this deck, which was a shame, but it's the truth really. I mean, some of the Toon monsters aren't the best, specifically Toon Cannon Soldier. Most likely will never use his ability unless you're really, really winning and you just want to deal that last 500 damage. But most likely, that's probably one of the weaker ones that you've got on the field. Toon Goblin Attack Force is actually quite a powerful monster, so that's not too bad to actually have out. Toon Gemini Elf and Toon Mass Sorcerer, they're two of the best ones you can have. Toon Mass Sorcerer is good, even though he's got low attack. When you attack your opponent's life points directly, you can draw an additional card, so that's good, like, resource replenishment. Toon Gemini Elf is even better, with 1900 attack. If it attacks your opponent directly, they have to discard a card from their hand to the graveyard, so that is pretty damn good. Most of the normal monsters in this deck aren't that impressive, and they're just here because they're just paying fan service to the Pegasus deck, you know, like things like Dark Rabbit and so on. So none of them are really that good, and I wish I didn't put Parrot Dragon in the deck. It's kind of awful. The addition of Relinquished and Thousand Eyes Restrict in this deck is amazing. If you could actually get those monsters out, then they will help you out significantly. Relinquish is a good card on its own, but if you can manage to get out Thousand Eyes Restrict, which was banned for a very long period of time, that would be awesome. The only problem is with this, though, you need obviously 2 or 3 cards really with Relinquished. You need the spell, the monster, and something to tribute. And it's actually really hard to get these together. Even though you have 2 monsters in the deck that can add one, you've got Sendra of the Thousand Hands as well as Sonic Bird to try and help these cards get to your hand. Sometimes it is very awkward. I think I only got Relinquished once out of about 15 duels, so that was a shame. Thousand Eyes Restrict is too difficult to make in this deck. You've got no way of really adding these cards to your hand. I mean, you got a couple things with like Sangan. You might have Fusion Sage to add polymerization, but overall it's too difficult to get that card out. And if I could have got it out, it would have been brilliant, but I didn't, so never mind. There are a couple cards that I put in the deck that I thought would be helpful, but they never actually helped me out, really. One of the biggest ones was Life Absorbing Machine, because some of your monsters have to pay 500 life points to attack as well. Toon World, you have to pay 1000 life points. I thought, oh, you get to recover half that life points the next turn, could be useful. I think if I'd have left the Eye of Truth in there, because that pays 1000 life points to look at your opponent's hand, it might have been useful, but that was awful. Shouldn't have left that in the deck. Dragon Capture Jar I put in just in case I went against any big dragon decks, which I never actually got the opportunity to use Dragon Capture Jar. But the weird thing is you actually have things like Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Parrot Dragon, so you actually have dragons in your deck, so it can be a bit of a hindrance. The other one was Shine Palace. I don't really know why this is in the deck. The only light monsters you really get a choice to equip this to is Rogue Doll, Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and that's it really. There's nothing really else you'd want to equip it to. I was going to quickly bring up some cards that I thought were actually really useful in the deck though. Vengeful's Bog Spirit, which stops your opponent from attacking the turn they summon the monsters, is good because since you're summoning your Toon monsters and they can't attack the turn they're summoned, it basically means that your opponent has to do the same. So that was a fantastic card to have in this deck. Really, really liked it. The card Ominous Fortune Telling, I thought was pretty good. Like, you pick a card in your opponent's hand, you get to deal 700 damage if you guess the type. But sometimes when I have Respect play on the field, you can actually figure out what they are. But no, I like that card. I thought it was pretty good. And of course, Toon Table of Contents, being able to add any Toon monster to your hand. It's sick, it's good. Overall, Structure Deck Pegasus, I would say, is the 3rd worst deck that we've had so far out of all of the character decks we've had. I still think Seto Kaiba's deck was the best, then Yugi's, then Pegasus, then Joey's. This deck is just too difficult. If you can get the big monsters out, it can be done. But overall, I think the deck is lacking in a lot of areas. But guys, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Have you ever used a Pegasus deck? What would you do differently if you could? But other than that, thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you next week.